So you know how in New York they did that broken window theory policing thing? That's where you enforce the most minor of crimes. And like if a broken window is broken, you have to fix that window immediately or ticket the person with the broken window.
Yeah.
If a car has a flat tire, you ticket that tire, you tow it. You get that. You can't have any. So that's the idea, and that was what was.
Have you ever heard of this, Nick? Broken window
Yeah,
policy?
I wrote it like I'm glad Jimmy did it, man. So straight up, because I wrote an op-ed that went in great detail, destroying all the propaganda. And one thing that abolitionists, we gotta continue to let people know what broken windows policing is. There's so many people that don't even know that this is the dominant ideology of policing. And once people learn what broken windows policing is, as Jimmy explains here, and every person I explained it to what broken windows policing is, they were like, "What?"
Yes.
Like it's one of the reactions.
People don't realize it. You don't
people
realize
immediately
it.
become disgusted, and that's why I'm glad that Jimmy led the video this way too, because that's one of the things I immediately talk about in the article. Because I'm like, how can you say that we have a fair policing system when they purposely aiming for a community and purposely trying to over police them, and that's the stated goal? Like they are not even hiding about their strategy. But we can continue with the video because Jimmy.
And Nick, guess what? I'm not saying it wasn't called this, and it was something similar, but the slave overseers had the same sort of ideology. They would go out and mess with slaves who didn't have no problem, just to stir up shit. So I see it as a similar sort of tactic. But let's get back to this.
Was credited for a little while anyway with bringing crime down in New York City. Now we've come to know that doesn't actually work. And that there were crime that New York was going down like the rest of the country was going down their crime and doesn't necessarily. And then they were also doing stop and frisk in New York City, which is 100% illegal.
But you know, the guy that came up with the broken windows theory was like, that is not what I was getting at with that theory.
That's exactly right. You're right. Yeah. So
there is a thing to making it nicer, but they're not going to do that. They'll police you. They're not going to make it nicer.
Right. That's right. The guy who invented this thing said that the people in New York City, the cops distorted it and they implemented it incorrectly, of course. So here's this new story. So the new mayor, who is an African-American, I'm pretty sure, here he is going.
Yeah, he is a coon. He's specifically put there, Nick. I know you know. I think you believe this too. He's specifically put there to do all the things they wanted to do that they can't do with a white mayor. That's why I believe he was specifically put there for the police state. For the police state. Absolutely.
Going backwards. As Adams toughens on crime, some fear a return to the 90s era of policing. In Mayor Eric Adams' first 3 months in office, New York City has been marred by shootings and hate crimes, a fatal subway shoving in Times Square, and other high-profile killings. Now, the mayor is testing just how much a liberal city is willing to empower its police. If it's one thing, the New York police...
So that's when he goes off on a tangent. So I'll now fast forward back to where we were, so you understand what he's talking about when he gets to this part of the story here.
New measures will initially be utilized in neighborhoods experiencing high rates of gun violence in Brooklyn and the Bronx. So the new measure, they're going to go after the poor people. Mm-hmm. They immediately go after black and brown poor people. That's exactly what they did with stop and frisk.
If they were going after gun violence, like that dice game shit, this is what they do.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
This is a good segment because we have to explain what the cops do, and that is what that is. And I wrote op-ed. I let this video play a little bit more. I want to show you guys. I haven't plugged it in a while because I actually wrote an op-ed. No, you would never ever see someone write an op-ed defending police budgets, right? I wrote it's like maybe 2,000-3,000 word op-ed, completely shredding our police state and going over every single argument they made and debunking it. Why you guys think I can do this all day? I can do this all day. But anyway, look, we can play the video and I'm gonna show you guys what I wrote on broken windows policing and why Jimmy's on point here. Like Jimmy is I don't know, like Jimmy proposed solutions, right, to these issues. He's good at talking about it and proposing it, but he's using the right language because at 10 Demands, we want to highlight that this is an economic war. Broken windows is regressive economics that is designed to impose financial penalties on the working class. So let's continue the video, and I know y'all go soon, but I'm gonna shortly plug this.
Yeah. It's like I said, if you want to continue, you can absolutely continue. I just checked my messages to see if I got the link from Misty yet, and I haven't gotten it yet, so I'm not late. But in another video, people may not know this, but Jimmy Dore talks about how he knows a lot of cops, like his dad is a cop. I think he said his dad is a cop, his brother's a cop, his cousin, his grandfather, like, so he grew up in this, and he says it even himself. He's like, there's no good cops. There's cops who assimilate to the system, and then there's the ones who get out of it. That's it. There's no that concept doesn't exist. He's like, that doesn't exist. So I'm loving what Jimmy has been saying lately about the topic. But let's continue. See how much I can get through before I got to take off.
They do with speech. This is the same thing. It's broken windows theory of speech. You need to aggressively punish the tiniest things, and it doesn't. It makes things shittier and like more angry. Yeah.
The new measure will be in poor black and brown neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Bronx, some of the same areas where black and Hispanic New Yorkers were disproportionately affected by stop and frisk police tactics that were deemed unconstitutional. After years of national Democratic efforts to distance themselves from 90s-style tough-on-crime tactics, Mr. Adams is now pushing New York into a new era of more aggressive law enforcement, even with the city far safer than in earlier decades.
I'm not sure.
Your thoughts, Nick?
I don't know if Jimmy touched on this, but he covering this great. But he mentioned how Adams is pushing a new aggressive style of law enforcement. Eric Adams openly came out in support of stop and frisk. You know the thing that Jimmy is talking about right now? In 2021, literally supporting stop and frisk. And you guys think he's not about to implement that? They're literally looking to expand the police in NYPD, and they're slow rolling it. So we're definitely gonna see that back. If you don't mind, I want to share this part.
Go ahead.
I kind of want to get your reaction too, because I actually may do a live stream just breaking this article down, because I haven't done it since I wrote this last year. This is like my second op-ed I ever wrote. Let me say this. Let me say this part right here, because this is why I'm talking about broken windows policing. So this is my article. I'm gonna highlight this so I don't lose my spot. But this is the article. I might do a little stream while I break this down, because I literally all my abolitionist thoughts I put in this one fucking article, and I debunk everything. I may do a whole stream while I just cover this in general. I literally talk about what the cops do. I talk about the history of policing. I talk about what our Black revolutionary leader says. I talk about how they enforce racial hierarchies. Like this is, I don't plug my op-eds enough. And another reason why I'm doing it, because I'm actually gonna start writing some more. I got like 4 article ideas. Like I need to start doing it though. It's a lot of work, because as you see, I take my time and I try to find a lot of sources in here. I talk about the history of policing, the new Jim Crow. I literally, you see, I cover all this stuff with facts, but this is why I talk about broken windows policing for a bit, right? And I talk about how Eric Garner and Ike Gurley, they were 2 victims of broken window policing. Eric Garner, he sued the cops before because he kept being harassed over low-level grievances, right? And this is a Marxist conversation that must be had, because broken window policing is them de facto imposing regressive fines and fees on the working class. I told you guys, we need to frame everything in terms of the class war. The expansion of the police state is the class war. And I think I explained it here. So this is the paragraph I explained it. Liberals and conservatives claim the police protect and serve their communities, but we already established they do not prevent crime. What they actually do is consistently impose regressive taxes on the poor and working class people in form of fine, fees, and civil asset forfeiture. So who is more likely to get civil asset forfeiture? The people who are targeted by broken windows policing. So I explained, I said, this is a for-profit policing. This for-profit policing is a capitalist scheme that operates to transfer wealth from minority communities back to the wealthy white ruling class. And that's why you continue to see giant disparities of black and white wealth, because of this.